Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first episode of Struggling in Silver. Supremely Silver? The Silver Superstar? Suddenly Silver. Yes, let's go with Suddenly Silver. Welcome to the first episode of Suddenly Silver. My episode of my show continued in the form of, well, it was the Platinum Newbie, and now it is this Suddenly Silver, because I started in Platinum, and then suddenly I was in Silver. Clear as pie, isn't it? We've been about 20 games in, and in retrospect, I really don't know why the system put me in Platinum. I did win all 5 placement matches, but you know, it's only 5 matches. And it must have thought I was good. I was playing with 2010 strategies, and it did not go very well after those 5 matches. I have since learned quite a bit about the game in its current state. Hence, against this Zerg opponent, I'm going to go with Forge, Fast, Expand. We're following the probe as it goes to scout out what this Zerg guy is doing and see if there's anything we can do about that. So, suddenly Silver, then it's just basically going to be the same show. Oh, my screen is leaving me. It's going to be the same show, just me casting my ladder games and talking about what I'm thinking in the game and outside of it. Hopefully I'll be leaving the Silver League behind soon and can go up against the Gold or maybe even again Platinum opponents. This guy, he is a Gold opponent, Sai Sora, the Zerg player, so we'll see how I do against him. The release schedule will remain the same, and here I see his spawning pool going down. This is a rather early spawning pool. At least he's not going hatchery first, which is the only build I've been up against so far from Zerg. So I'm a little bit cautious here. The forge is going down, and I'm thinking now maybe I better finish off this wall and get 1 or 2 units before start throwing down the nexus. At any rate, I scout his second and third bases and see they're not there, so I'm going to leave the probe here to see if I can block his expansion when it inevitably does come. You can see I've chosen to throw down a gateway and a cannon before putting down the nexus, thus somewhat defying the purpose of the Forge Fast Expand, but I did see my enemy is not expanding and has an early spawning pool, so I feel justified in taking this precaution. Now after this pylon, I think I do want to go for the nexus because my probe here is still alive. His base isn't down yet. I see the drone is coming now. I try to kill it and just I throw down a pylon to be annoying with its hatchery. This fight here, I misjudged it. I thought I could win it, but the drone takes it with 1 hit advantage. I decide to let the pylon finish just to be as annoying as I can and delay that hatchery for a little more. 2 Zerglings will arrive and the pylon won't have a long life, but it will delay his hatchery for a little bit. I'm taking my gas now and I'm now saving up for a nexus before any units, because I did see he has only opted to take the 2 Zerglings and nothing else. So as I'm throwing the nexus down, I'm going to a mistake I did in this game. I haven't yet put a cybernetic score. Perhaps this cannon was a bit of an overkill, too much caution there. Perhaps it would be better spent on a cybernetic score after the gateway. But I was cautious, and here's the core going down. Quite delayed, going down at the 4.5 minute mark. Again though, I'm feeling quite comfortable here because my Zerg opponent did not have a lot of Zerglings, nor did he take a fast second or third base. So I'm not quite sure what he's doing, and here I'm just tightening up the wall and unartosising this pylon. The artosis pylon, I think it's a term coined by Husky while casting a game of Artosis, obviously, where he's got 1 pylon powering lots of important stuff. So I'm getting a second pylon here, just in case. And the classic zealot on hold position in the little gap. Second nexus going down, second gas going down, and now I'm going to have to think about what I'm going to do with this game. So far I've only got the 1 gateway and 2 bases going up, so I have a lot of possibilities and opportunities ahead of me. Sending out another scouting probe. He sees some Zerglings, but they should not have an opportunity to get into this solid wall. In this game I'm leaning towards going for Colossus with some gateway units accompanying them, of course. Because the Zerg is not appearing to be doing anything gimmicky, Colossus are good again. Good for words are so difficult. Colossi are good for melting Zerg. That's what I was trying to say. And this Zerg definitely has to be melted. No creep spread going on either, so I'm not too intimidated by this particular fellow. I could have done a little bit more scouting with this probe. I basically just checked the front. There could be anything here. I did not check it out. But I do see he has a second base just now up. And I think I'm going to check out a third. At least that would be prudent. I hope. That's what he's going to do. Many of you, and by the way, welcome to my new subscribers. I'm very happy to see you, and very warm welcome. But a few of you left comments that I should be scouting more about what bases the Zerg had. So I'm doing that now, and it's helping with my confidence in the game. I'm a lot more confident here, picking up this Overlord and going for fairly straight into a Colossus build. Because I'm not seeing a lot of army and I'm not seeing a lot of economy, the scouting has made me quite comfortable. I say I'm going directly into a Colossus build, well that's what I'm going to do obviously, but at this point it's not obvious yet. So there's a little bit of a lull in the action here, so allow me to talk a little bit about what I did today. Today I went diving, and as you may know if you've ever done it, diving is awesome. Basically you just float through the water looking at stuff, and one of the things I saw was a fairly common fish. I don't know its name. Gee, I saw a fish when diving, isn't that awesome? But it's one of the fish that hides under the sands, and I know these exist and they're not that special to be honest, but what I hadn't seen before is how it hides in the sand, and it's super awesome because it does a flash and then it's gone, and it's in the sand, but the bottoms of the sand that's swirled up appears in a line away from where it is. So it hides in the sand and makes a decoy, which is pretty neat, I thought. Otherwise, about diving, it's one of the first and only things I've discovered so far that it's both incredibly relaxing and quite strenuous. Because everything is so slow underwater, you really have like a zen-like relaxation state where everything moves slowly and nothing matters except breathing and looking around you, which is really nice for relaxing, as you might imagine. On the other hand, you're also underwater, have to manage your air and make sure not to die, and you're swimming for a few hours, so it's quite a workout and also very strenuous. So now at the end of the day I'm really tired but also very relaxed, which is quite a nice combination. In contrast, when my work is pretty busy but not very physically intense, and basically I walk around a lot and I'm in my car, but now big deal, anyone can do that. So at the end of the day I'm really tired, but I could help someone move a sofa or something. Today I'm not tired at all, but don't ask me to help you move because I couldn't, I'll just fall over. Nice contrast, and I can recommend it to anyone, except if you're afraid of water. A friend of mine asked me if she could come diving, and I had to remind her she was afraid of water, and that was a problem. So yeah, don't go diving if you're afraid of water, otherwise I can recommend it. Back to the game. I have made an observer, and it's going to observe the hell out of this opponent Zerg. In the meantime here we've got the second base going pretty well, the first base perfectly saturated. Here the extended thermal lance upgrades and the armor, and I think yeah, this is my second forge. So armor and weapon upgrades going down. Fairly heavy on the stalkers, and I get a Twilight Council for those extra upgrades and enabling the way into Templar and maybe Archons later on. So here I see creep, and that's of course alarming to see creep in your own base when you're not playing as Zerg. So my army should go check it out. Yes, there it goes. And fortunately it's just an overlord pooping the stuff. So I can dispatch him, nibble away another overlord, and stop this beast from littering in my base. In my house. Don't litter in my house. Keep your pooping animals to yourself, is what I'm yelling at my screen whilst playing this game. Because I'm a well-adjusted, decent citizen. So let's follow this observer. It was the hero of the last game, as you might recall, where it saw the Dark Templar just as they tried to do their thing and handily prevented them from doing their thing. So, I see some roaches, some lings, and some drones transferring. All in all, not very intimidating at all. A lot less intimidating than the Zergs I've played thus far. I don't know what's up with that. Most of them were silver and outplayed me pretty handily. This guy is gold and so far is letting me be, which of course I'm not complaining about. My first Colossus comes out. I'm currently at 1-0 upgrades. Let's see what my enemy is at. He's at 1-1, so he is ahead of me, but I have a feeling... Ooh, look at that. Quite the miss rally here, but fortunately I catch it somewhat in time. 5 probes doing nothing, of course, is not really in time. Well, 5, it's more of them. Well, too late now. Let's say it was 5. It was 5 probes doing nothing. 6. So not a contest winning here, not a contest winning strategy here, but fortunately I did catch it, at least for one of the Nexi. This one is still misrallied, but I have a lot of mining probes, so it's somewhat... It's not a catastrophic fail here. In any competitive game it probably would have been, but we're only silver, suddenly silver, so no worries here. I'm not too bothered about that. Not enough to throw me off my game at any rate. Adding some zealots here just to have them, because hey, a front line is a front line and we need a front line to guide these colossi laser beams, and zealots can provide just that. Transferring these probes slightly too early, because obviously the Nexus isn't finished yet and now they're long distance mining for no reason. I was considering getting another robo facility, because my money is at times getting quite high and I could have more colossi that way, but I choose to get upgrades, add a gateway or two, and a pylon, of course. Doing quite well on the supply. I'm at 118 of 122, so not too many excess pylons and not being supply blocked either. At this point I think it's a good move to start moving out. I've got 2 colossi, 1 more on the way, decent stalker count, a few utility sentries and a handful of zealots. And the creep here, I thought it was a 4th base of my opponent's, or a 5th, but it turned out to be just an overlord. So here I felt massively vulnerable, just as if I had walked into a trap, because of course he knows my army is now here, and I killed nothing of note of his. So I decided to retreat to intercept any impending doom armies that have seen my army be out of position. None arrived though, so that threat, that imagined threat, has been averted thus far. Here's a changeling. I see this now in the replay, but in the game I had no idea it was there. I just thought I had a stray zealot, so that worked out just fine. Here's my second robo facility that I was talking about. Armor 2 upgrade going down, and here's a Templar Archives, because who doesn't like Archons? Who doesn't like Storms? So we pretend we didn't see this because I didn't see it, and I'm moving out here to see if I can do some damage with these Colossus. I'm not maxed out, but I'm 185 of 186, but I'm fairly close to maxed out, so I can... Oh shit, my base is under attack. This is when I see this, and I'm thinking, well, this is going to be a bigger mass any day. Here's a Colossus, at least it can do some damage, at least together with this fresh warping of Stalkers, but the Nidus is pooping out so much enemies, and I briefly considered going back, but I decided against it and go for a base race, really. Oh no, those males, damn it. Go for a base race. Killing the overlords here, attacking the hatchery. There's 0 resistance here, so that makes me happy at least. But if we look back here, there's 0 resistance here as well. Zerg army heading into my base completely unimpeded, but I'm heading into his base completely unimpeded as well. So here it turns into a game of who can destroy whose base the fastest, aka a base race. Well, anticipating this, I send a handful of probes here to build a nexus, not to get revealed, and stay alive, because my bases here are getting killed pretty handily. I have killed his natural as well, and I'm now moving into the main. Queen's dying, the probes are trying to flee, but they're no match for all the stalkers and the Colossi, which are at 2-2 upgrades. My opponent is at 2-2 upgrades as well. He's got a handful of corruptors, but here they're useless. They would have been very helpful here, but they're not here. And here my army is taking down the hive and his main base. His army in the meantime has taken out my both expansions and is now going to start invading the unprotected main. Hasn't been mined out, but and this nexus is just going down. This is going to be the new home of these Protoss heroes, and I'm feeling confident about this base race, or well, not about the race, but I'm feeling at least happy that I'm killing his base, and I think my army can take his army. He's got Roach Hydra, and not a huge number of them. I mean, I've got about well, he's got more roaches, but my stalkers are better. I've got some sentries to put force fields. I've got the 3 colossi, which will melt the hydra and the roaches as well. I've got a few zealots. If we were to engage army to army, I think I would win this. Not sure if it was in an open field, but if I can manage to use the force fields and the colossi and position everything well, I can win this. So here he's killed my base. I've killed, well, basically all of his bases. Is his last hatchery, and as I kill this, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, to get the message that he's being revealed, but he's not. So he's got a base somewhere. I've got a base somewhere, but it's only this. So I decide he's probably going to go for it. So I'm going to try and intercept his army at my last remaining base, where I can hopefully finish off his army. His army is now moving into this, what you barely can even call a base, his last stand of a Protoss base. I retreat the stalkers here to attack all at once, and I'm catching his army beautifully out of position. So I'm really happy here that I catch this army from behind. But as this fight is occurring, I'm thinking, oh my god, I've got nothing left. If he kills this, I'm done. I've got a Nexus at low HP. I've got a pylon at 5 hit points of Forge. This pylon is going to end up going down. My army is melting his army, but I've got nothing left, and he leaves the game. Tells me it was so close, gives me a GG, and leaves. So if you look at what I had a Forge at 210 hit points. I had a pylon, which was at 5, has regenerated 40 shields, so let's call that 40 hit points. And this pylon at 100, so I had 500 hit points. I think his army could have done 500 points of damage in the time that he typed GG and left. And if you look at the map and see what he has, he had a hatchery here. And if we rewind the game a little bit, he had just this hatchery, and he didn't actually leave the game. He just cancelled the hatchery and then lost. No, he did leave the game because he also had this assimilator. Anyway, he ends up cancelling the hatchery and leaving the game. Maybe buildings auto cancel when you leave the game. Anyway, he GG's out. I think he might have been able to win had he tried to focus down my buildings. But hey, it's a win against the Zerg. I'm happy about it. I'm not gonna ask too many questions. This was today's game, the first one of Suddenly Silver. Thanks again for all my new subscribers. I really appreciate it. It's always nice to get those emails that somebody has subscribed. Makes me really want to do more videos, so keep that up. And of course, at 50 subscribers, I'm going to do an island tour, and at 100 subscribers, I'm going to try and go spearfishing and film that. For now, good night and have a nice day. It will be a Friday for you when this releases. So, have a nice Friday and have a nice weekend and an awesome life. This was Lorenzo of Suddenly Silver, and I'll be seeing you guys later. Goodbye.